On my first NDE, I was so depressed. Just a little backstory, I had depression for most of my life. I came in feeling like I was not at home, and so this depression continued. And I got to the point where I decided that I was going to take my life, and I had it all planned out, I thought. So I thought. And I thought, nobody's going to find me. My kids are taken care of. Everything's going to be fine. And so I went ahead and I proceeded to do what I was doing to accomplish this job. Somehow I forgot to turn off my phone. And I got a call. And so I took the call, and my friend who had been thinking about me and called me knew something was going on because I was garbling what I was saying. And so she called another friend, and the two of them decided to come over. The person that had called me originally, she just had a bad feeling. She just knew something was going on. So I guess it was late at night, and she called our other friend and asked her to come with her. And so they both came over, and they got in the door finally by calling maintenance and called the police, and the ambulance showed up. And so this is all taking place while I'm not conscious. So I didn't hear about this until after I got out of my NDE and recovered. But what happened during my NDE was absolutely amazing. I was taken to this place where I don't know if you know what little church chapels look like in hospitals, but it was like a little chapel in the hospital, this little room. And I'm standing there in the back of the room, and in front of me there are all these pews, and there's some people here and some people here just scattered around, and they're waiting. They're waiting for something. I don't know what they're waiting for, but I had the feeling that they were waiting. And up at the front, where the podium usually is, there was this being, this man. And it's hard to explain because he had form, but yet he was pure light. But you could tell it was a man. And you could see the outline. And I couldn't see his face or his features. But it really wasn't about what I was seeing with my eyes. It was about what I felt. And this tremendous love, this tremendous calmness, and the light from this being was utterly amazing. And so he floats up to me. I didn't see him walking. He just floated and appeared in front of me. And he said, I want to show you something. And so we go off, and it's like we just went to, like, how you would visualize the chapel in this little door, but there was another door off to the side. And I don't remember going through it. I just remember going that way, and all of a sudden I'm standing in this field. And we're looking up this small hill. I'm in Kansas, so picture a small hill. And what was so incredible about this place was the grass. I have never encountered grass like this. It was alive, and it was beautiful, and it was love, and the colors were amazing. And I'm looking up this hill, and all of a sudden I'm standing with him up on this hill, and now we're looking down, and we see trees off to the side, and there's an arboretum that's down below that. And we go to the arboretum, and I'm there. And they say, I want to show you what your life would look like if you stayed here. And I want to show you what your life would look like if you went back. And I remember being there for a very, very long time. They showed me so many things. And I guess I decided that I wanted to come back. Because right after that, I'm back in my body and I'm awake and I'm in the recovery room and I'm so mad. I was so mad. I was so mad that I didn't stay there. I was so mad that I came back here and that all of a sudden I'm back in my body and I know that things are still bad. And why would I decide to do that? And the only thing I could think of was they must have really showed me something because I could not remember what they showed me. But I knew I witnessed it. I knew it had happened. I knew that with every fiber of my being. So that was my first NDE. And also, just to let you know, the reason I know it was an NDE was because on my way to the hospital in the ambulance, my heart had stopped and they had to resuscitate me. So that's why I say I've had 2 NDEs, because both times my heart stopped. And I call my third one a spiritually transformative experience because I didn't have the proof of my heart stopping, but boy, it felt like an NDE too. So I just call it a spiritually transformative experience.
Yeah, that's so intense. And the fact that you come back, you then do not remember why you chose to do so.
Right.
And you have this experience that I can imagine you probably did not know what an NDE was at the time. So you knew something had happened, but you weren't quite sure.
No. They didn't go
What did you feel like coming back and then being, in the same situation?
I felt utterly destroyed. I really did. The depression went on even after the ND. I already knew that God had existed. I came in knowing that I was not at home. And I knew that the other side was my home. So I don't think I was surprised to be there. But boy, I was surprised I came back because I was determined that this was going to work. And it did, and it was so crazy to me that I chose to come back. Why? Why would I do that? I was there. I accomplished what I was trying to do. So that was a little frustrating. It was frustrating, but I also, have my friends and my 2 children. So that was hard too because, I didn't want to leave them. But all those struggles were still going on. So it was frustrating for me. It wasn't an NDE where I came back going, oh, I'm so glad I'm here, and they gave me all kinds of wisdom, and it was as if they showed me, and I really feel like this, that what later on would be like, not what right now would be like, right? It's not like you're going to instantaneously come back and everything's going to be great. So they showed me what was going to happen later, but I was so immersed in what was happening right then that it was hard to concentrate for me going through such depression on what was going to be later.
So what happens from this NDE, you come back, and then all the way up to your second NDE, which was a little while apart?
Well, at that point, I didn't come out of it. I didn't come out of the depression. Things felt like they were not improving. I felt really low, and I could not shake the feeling of wanting to go back and that I had made a mistake. I just really felt like, boy, I made a mistake. I don't want this. I don't want to be here. This is a mistake. So about 1.5 years later, I carried on, doing your day-to-day tasks, not concentrating on anything spiritual, which is what I should have been doing. But at that time, I was just having such a hard time because I was so depressed. And so 1.5 years later, I decided that I was going to try again. And this time, of course, I made sure my children were taken care of. I had the first time too. And then I did what I was going to do at night, and I passed out, and I didn't wake up, and I made sure I wouldn't wake up. And it wasn't until 11 o'clock the next morning that my babysitter for my son Cameron had come upstairs. She thought I had gone into work early, and she would come over and watch my son early in the morning. And she thought I had gone into work earlier. So she came upstairs and my door was shut, and she opened my door and saw me laying on the floor with froth all over my mouth. And she called an ambulance, and again, my heart had stopped, and this time my NDE was different. This time in the NDE, I was shown that I was laying in this hospital bed with all these tubes and wires connected to me. But I knew that I was awake, but I could not talk. I couldn't do anything. I was just trapped in my body. And they gave me the message, this is telepathically. There's nobody there around me, but I hear in my head that if I were to try to commit suicide again, this is what was going to happen to me. And that I would be stuck in my body for the rest of my life until my body failed and, I died naturally. And went to the other side. That was enough for me. And what was going on while that was happening was my organs were shutting down. I had already had a transplant of a kidney and pancreas prior to this. And so because I had it, they were not willing to do another transplant because my liver was failing. So told my parents they couldn't do that because somebody has tried to commit suicide. They won't waste an organ on them. And so the doctor took them out of the ICU room. And the ICU room's doors are always closed. So they have the sliding glass doors, and they're always closed. And he told them, and I'm witnessing this. He told them that I wasn't going to wake up, that I was dying, and that they needed to tell the family and have the family members come say goodbye to me. And I'm not awake. I'm not awake. I'm laying in this hospital bed, but I am not awake. So I could not have heard it from my ears. I couldn't have seen it with my eyes because they were closed. And so the next day I woke up. I was completely healed. Everything was completely healed. And I remember telling them that I heard him say that. But with such a warning, knowing that would happen to me, I knew I could never plan a suicide attempt again. And that's one of the biggest things, is not to make a plan. I mean, that's the worst thing you can do when you have depression, is have some backup plan that you're going to do something. And when hopefully, if you have an audience member that's thinking this way, hopefully they understand that when they are depressed, the best thing to do is to tell somebody. Tell anybody, your friends, your family, because you have less of a chance to go ahead and try to commit suicide by doing that. So that was my second ND. At that point, so I had always thought, well, if things get too bad, I'm gonna commit suicide. I'm just gonna take my life if things are too hard and I can't take it. But after that, I had to face things because I didn't have that option anymore. It wasn't even an option. And the depression went on, but I knew I couldn't do anything about it, that I had to get through it. And that's when I started facing my problems head on. And I got back into my spiritual life and read lots of books. I went to counseling. I just got a different mindset. I met my now husband, and he was really, really helpful, because he's like, I'm not going to marry you if your plan is that you don't want to be here. Why would I marry you if you're not wanting to be here? Right? And that's a lot. That is a whole lot. So it's not just about the suicide. It's about deciding that you want to be here, and deciding that things aren't happening to us. They're actually happening for us. And that these problems that we're having are, you know, a lot of people say they're tests, and I don't like to think of them in that way, because if you actually change your focus on what is really happening, it's growth, it's a gift. You don't have to choose to go into any of those feelings. And it is a choice. It is a choice. It's a choice whether you're going to, a lot of it's about what you're telling yourself. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be here. Those kind of thoughts. That you can change those thoughts. That some of the greatest things to do are to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy. It's like fake it till you make it. You just keep saying it till you finally realize, yeah, I am worthy. And all these false beliefs that other people have put in your head aren't truth. Those are maybe somebody's perception, or you might want to look at why they would say something to you like that and realize that this is not my truth. It's not my truth. And let that go. And then start to realize that if it takes just small things, I get up, I clean my house. I mean, it could be really small. I go outside, I get the mail. I pet the dog. I pet somebody's dog. I held the door for somebody. And you build on that, and you build on that, and you build on the good things. You start to realize that you are good. You're very good. And that you're worthy and you're loved. And that's the biggest thing. I'm a psychic medium. And the biggest thing I know is that everybody is surrounded by spirit guides and angels, archangels, God, ascended masters, and passed away loved ones. We have a huge team that just surrounds us with unconditional love, that are rooting for you and that are there for you. And all you have to do is talk to them. And I like to explain to people that when you're in body, it's just a change of form when you cross over. And so you can compare it to like a fan, a ceiling fan. So the blades will go around on low very slowly, and you can see the blades. That's us. You can feel the air, you can see the blades, and we are vibrating at that level. But the higher you get on the fan, the faster it's going. You can't see the blades, but you can still feel the air. And that's where they are, the people that cross over. They are spinning that fast that you can't see them, but you can still feel them if you try. We still get signs from them if you pay attention. And so make those choices and do those things. So that was, in a long way, that was the second one.
I love that. And I love that you talked about feeling worthy and feeling important, because I know that a lot of us are struggling with that sense of worthiness.
It's about your internal dialogue. So that's the important thing that everybody should realize. People can say and feel what they want. And regardless that you're hearing a lot for countries where they're putting down women or putting somebody down for beliefs, it is seriously only about your internal dialogue. Nobody hears your internal dialogue, only you. So it's important to fill yourself with worthiness and love and acceptance and gratitude, and knowing that you are here. This is the toughest school there is. That's what they say. Being here on earth is the toughest. Coming down into this dense vibration and going through different scenarios and making it through. I've heard a lot of people say, you really don't have to do anything. The fact that you come down and that you make it through is enough. And in some cases that's true. And And for other people, most people have something that they want to work on, and so they will have things come up in their life, maybe a situation, so they can learn from it. I was physically abused in a relationship, and I know that happened to me because I was supposed to realize that I was worthy. I was supposed to realize that I had the choice to get out. And it wasn't until I made that choice, this is enough. I'm not going to take this. I am worthy. I do not deserve this. I'm a good person. And when I made this step and the plan to get out, I was just out. I was out, and it was hard. Believe me, it was really hard. And a lot of people that are in relationships like that have a very hard time to get out. I got assistance from the abuse foundation that was in my city, and I went to a safe house. I mean, I took steps, but I was able to get out, and I have such a wonderful life now. But it's about, even though you have those challenges, it's about what you're learning. And what I learned in that is that I'm worthy. What I learned in that is that I can handle it. I am strong enough to get out. And that those thoughts and those things that were said weren't true. They just weren't true.
Where would be the best place to start to get a bit of worthiness or get a bit of a boost in confidence?
I think for most people now, I mean, what I would have said years ago would have been different. But now in this age, going to YouTube, watching videos, you can look, there's so many videos on worthiness and how you can get that and how you can realize that you have it. Tons of spiritual videos too. So it's just a matter of, how you're thinking about it. But there are so many videos. The other way is to reach out and go to a counselor. It's very hard for a lot of people that are struggling financially to do that, and not all places or cities will offer, reduced rates. My best advice is to seek out YouTube and to start looking on YouTube for videos that can help you. And I wish I had some to just say, go watch this. I don't, but it's really easy to look it up. And anybody can do it in any country. And so for me, when I started to share my story, it was exactly that. If I just help one person, it would be worth it. I don't make any money sharing. And a lot of the other people that are on your channel, they don't make any money for sharing. And so it's just huge to do that. And for other people that aren't at a place where they can share, they can watch and they can relate. And so it's so wonderful that you are doing this. My hat's off to you, because it is a big job. My sister also does YouTube, and it's a huge commitment and job. It takes many hours, and so I so appreciate you doing this, and I so appreciate you inviting me to share.
Thank you. Now, one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was your relationship with religion and how that has changed, and if it has changed after your NDE.
Okay, well, I consider myself spiritual, not religious. I did not grow up with a spiritual background. I mean, religious, sorry, cut that out. I did not grow up with a religious background. The only religion that I went to was my grandparents belonged to the Methodist Church, and when we would go there for maybe Christmas, we would go to the church, and so that was the only kind of religious experience I had. My dad was an atheist. My mom was spiritual, but she was a recovering Catholic. So while she's recovering, she's open to this spiritual stuff, but she has some hard times with some of it, because it's so hard for her to get out of that mindset that it's evil. And that was really hard. My grandmother was very intuitive and had abilities. And then my aunts did too. And so it's been passed down. My mom does. And she passed it down to me. And I'm so grateful. And so after my NDEs, I decided I wanted to belong somewhere. But I wanted to belong somewhere that they accepted the fact that I was a psychic. And so I went to different churches. I went to different groups. I took classes for my spirituality to enhance what I already had. That was great because I met like-minded people. But I was engrossed more deeply into spirituality and reading and researching and finding out things about spirituality. And this is what I tell everybody. Take what resonates with you and feel it. And if it feels right, take it in. And if it doesn't, let it go. No matter whether it's me talking or somebody else reading, watching videos, whatever it is, take what you can use for you and let the rest go. And that's really your gauge when you're doing anything. Because if you are having medical problems, a lot of times depression will come with medical problems because you feel it so deeply, this sadness. And it starts out here and it works into your mind and then it physically comes out in your body. And so it's just letting you know that you aren't in touch with your true self. It's just out of alignment. And so finding that alignment is what will help. And then believing that you aren't that person anymore. Changing your mindset. That was me. Even if it was 10 minutes ago, that was my feeling 10 minutes ago. Right now, I'm feeling different. That's a different version of me, and I let that go. And so you constantly do that. I have done that with, I recently fell down 14 stairs backwards in November. And I had 3 bulging discs, and I fractured my back. And I decided, I am not going through this. This is not what I want. And so I started to change my mindset. And so this is, along with, that was me 10 minutes ago. Right now, this is not me. I'm not in pain. And I kept telling myself, and I kept telling myself, and I kept bringing that to myself. And that's the same way you can do with depression. That was me 10 minutes ago. That's not how I feel now. And then maybe you feel it again. And then you realize it, and then you go, oh no, I don't want to be in that place. I don't want to feel that. So I'm going to change how I feel and how I'm looking at it. That was me. But now I'm a different person. And that's a good way to work out of depression too. Because a lot of times you're so engrossed in it. You're like, what do I do right now? Right now in this minute, I'm not feeling good. How do I change how I feel right now? And that's how you start. It all starts in your mind. All of it. The best way to contact me, I do readings for people too, is to contact me through my email. It's love, L-O-V-E, lives, L-I-V-E-S, O-N, @gmail.com. And my name is Stephanie Teater. That's spelled T as in Tom, E-A, T as in Tom, E-R. And that's the best way to get a hold of me for anybody around the world. I do readings for people all over the world, so it doesn't matter where you are, we can connect. And I do them through Zoom. And so we will be face to face.